Welcome into another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and I'm joined, as always, by Chris Emerson. Chris, how we doing?
We're doing well. We're dead in the middle of the playoffs right now, sitting sixth, I think.
Fifth. We're the
We're
fifth
doing
seed
all
right
right.
now.
Oh, even better. Let's take it.
Yeah, we overtook the Rockets last night because the Rockets lost in overtime to the Sacramento Kings, blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to the Sacramento Kings. Not
I saw
ideal.
that big 3-pointer from Westbrook.
Yes. Turning back the clock on him. And I saw the stat that the Wolves have the best record in the NBA since Thanksgiving at 9-2. And the reason it doesn't feel like it is because their two losses are against a shorthanded Suns team and a shorthanded Memphis team. That's why it doesn't feel like that we have the best record. But I mean, 9-2 between holidays, maybe 10-2 between holidays. We'll see tomorrow. Knicks on the schedule. No OG, no Jalen Brunson. I mean, 10-2 between Christmas and Thanksgiving. We'll take it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing that winning teams that are, got the home court advantage in the playoffs and stuff do. They take care of the battered, injured teams in the middle of the season when, it can be easy to get lazy. Like versus the Bucks, we didn't play very sharp, but we at least got the win. We drop a couple of those here and there, and instead of sitting at a home court advantage, we're, looking at a play-in at the end of the season.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, like we mentioned every podcast, we had to go 17-4 to even make the playoffs proper last year without going through the play-in. The good news is it seems like we're starting our run a little bit earlier than last year, which is more than ideal. Of course, we've talked about the schedule does get a little harder, but I mean, does it really get much harder than Oklahoma City? And we beat them. Now, Oklahoma City didn't have the best shooting night, didn't have the everything going for them. Chet had a bad night for them as well. But hey, a win against Oklahoma City is a win that speaks volumes about where you're at as a team, particularly when you come off of a dismal performance against the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I know you didn't have Anthony Edwards in that game, and there were people saying, including myself, saying that, oh man, look at how good the ball's moving. We don't need Anthony Edwards. Well, you get to a game like Memphis or that game earlier in the year where LeBron and Luka were out against the Lakers, and then you get to the Oklahoma City game and you realize, oh yeah, we need a superstar. We need a superstar out there. And sometimes, yes, maybe the ball movement doesn't look as great, but at the same time, this is a superstar league, and Anthony Edwards is our superstar right now.
100%. And I mean, in that OKC game, like we didn't have many of our other, I don't know if you want to call them star-like players, but even any of our top guys really step up and make a lot of noise. I think what won us that game was the minutes of Dillingham and Bones.
Yeah.
So they had about 25 minutes combined. So kind of playing like a backup point guard role. And those two guys combined gave us, great minutes that were competitive and really kept us going.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And it's funny, we mentioned last podcast, did Chris Finch beat the Nuggets in the playoffs, or did Mike Inori? Did Chris Finch beat the Thunder, or was it Mike Inori who beat the Thunder, which we'll talk about in a little bit? Good things seem to happen, but it was weird when Chris Finch went out, because it wasn't like what you see in baseball sometimes where a manager gets kicked out and then the team comes out and puts up 7 runs in the next inning or something like that. The Wolves actually went really cold for a while after that ejection. I think the lead got up to somewhere like 14. You had the free throws, and then actually the first possession after the free throws and the ejection, the Wolves gave up 3 offensive rebounds, and it turned into a 3. And you were thinking, well, I'm sure a lot of people, I was thinking as well, oh no, this is going the opposite way. Like this is going to go the way of this team is just going to quit and let Oklahoma City get another win. But they stepped up and got it done. It was impressive. And then, of course, where we're going with next, Anthony Edwards in the clutch. Now, I know that we complain a lot about Anthony Edwards, like chucking up shots or step backs or just bad offense in the clutch time. But I'm kind of come to the realization that we may just need to live and die with it and we'll get to some of his clutch stats in a moment, but he's been good in the clutch this year. And he just has those superstar moments where you can put on a highlight reel where you go, yeah, this guy's special.
100%. I mean, he has whatever the it thing is. He has that ability to get a shot off whenever he wants, which is just something you have to be able to do or not to have that role. But B, he has confidence, and that's what it is. And even when I remember his rookie season on here, when he would shoot, 25 shots and maybe make 5 or 6 of them, kind of like the Bucks game. We were like, it's still an NBA skill set to be able to get 25 shots off. Like, that's not easy to do. And he can get a shot off. So now he's just honed that skill. And I feel like, an open jump shot or a buzzer beater to him is the same shot.
Right. And where I want to go with this, I feel like Ant has a case. Now, a lot of people are calling for Ant for MVP. I'm not sure that's plausible. I think some other key players would have to be injured for him to jump them in the MVP voting. But how about this? How about Ant for clutch player of the year, which is almost as important as MVP? Let me go through some of the stats for Anthony Edwards in clutch time this year. Ant is 66% from the field in clutch time. Now, by the way, clutch time, as you may know, within 5 points, within 5 minutes of the at the end of the game. 66% from the field, 58% from 3 from the field.
Wow.
Now, the only thing that may hold him back from this is the amount of clutch time shots per game, which is 2.7, which makes him 13th on the list. I was looking at Jalen Brunson's clutch output, who won the clutch player of the year last year. And honestly, it's pretty similar to Anthony Edwards. I mean, last year, Jalen Brunson, 3.6 attempts in the clutch, 1.9 makes, which is 51% per game. He only shot 29% from 3, and then about 1.8 attempts from the free throw line, 84%. I mean, I know it's early in the season, but Ant's numbers are better than that. Like right now, I mean, like you said, Jalen only shot 29% from 3 in the clutch. I mean, if the Wolves keep pulling out these games and are a top contender here in the Western Conference, I think he could be a shoe-in for clutch player of the year, which, like I said, may even be more impressive than winning MVP.
I think more impressive than MVP might be a reach, but I see where you're going with that.
Right.
One thing that I think we need is, like you said, more attempts. Like, I don't know how many actual like total attempts Brunson had. Like, he might have only had 3 of them a game, but he might have been in 40 clutch games. So then it's a little more impactful. Like last year, we were in a ton of clutch games. So if Anthony Edwards gets to the point where he's holding these sorts of statistics, and we've got a pretty good database of games that have went to clutch, yeah, man, those numbers are crazy. And he's the kind of guy that could hold those.
Here's the thing, though. You mentioned how many clutch games. According to this, in the regular season, Jalen Brunson only played 28 clutch games. How many did Ant play last year? 42. So that's over half a season in clutch minutes, and he missed a couple games. And how about just the improvement? Like I said, last year he shot 42% from the field, 32% from 3 in clutch time. What's he doing this year? 66 and 58. If not clutch player of the year, how about most improved clutch player of the year? Can we create that award? Can we name it after some player? I don't know who, maybe some maybe George Mikan, maybe some guy you've never heard of. We can name it after, but Ant's been great in the clutch.
Robert Horry.
Robert Horry, most improved clutch player of the year. Let's make it an award.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Just wanted to hop in and tell you about today's sponsor, 612 Tees. Now, the holidays are right around the corner. Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, I want you to look good and the people in your life to look good with these awesome t-shirts. Perfect time to get the Timberwolves fan or Vikings fan in your life the tee that they have always wanted. Check out 612tees.com. Whether it's Jalen Clark, you want a Anthony Edwards shirt, whether you even want a Bones Highland shirt, maybe the point guard of the future. Of course, we've got the Naz Reid shirts as well. We got Queen Fee here if you're a Lynx fan, Julius Randle, the Goosebumps shirts, so many cool shirts for you to check out at 612tees.com. And, of course, we're going to hook you up, get you 25% off your first order by scanning the QR code that I'm pointing at right now, or you can use RUN25 at checkout or the link in the description. Again, that's RUN25 at checkout, or scan the QR code right now to check out everything that 612 Tees has to offer you. Thanks to Cole at 612 Tees, and make sure that you get the Wolves fan in your life the gift that he or she is going to treasure this holiday season. Let's get back to the show.
I think that Chris Finch needs more credit for when he does the right thing, because he gets a lot of flack for, oh, he didn't make this timeout, he didn't put this guy in, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. But my point here is an example from the Bucks game. So the Bucks come out in the second half, they make a 16-point lead. Randall's making some mistakes. I think he forced a shot, maybe he had a foul as well, maybe a turnover. Now Randall has been awesome this year, right? Like he's been great. But it wasn't his night. What does Chris Finch do? He calls a timeout, puts in Naz Reid. Naz Reid is a huge part of a 20-0 run that the Wolves go on. So I think the same people that say, oh, man, Finch never calls timeout, Finch never does this, Finch never does that, need to acknowledge when he does do that. Like, because that was a huge move. That we're probably – if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't realize, oh, Randall isn't on tonight and I got to go a different direction right now, we're probably talking about another disappointing loss against a battered team without Giannis. Like, let's be completely honest. If that run doesn't, if Naz doesn't go in that game, I don't think that run happens.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if this was the exact moment, but I saw we were 6 of 7 for 3. I think it might have been during that run. I think, I mean, that sort of butterfly effect that coaches can have is often overlooked. And just like a lot of things, like when you're doing well and nobody notices you, kind of like the offensive line, they'll always say that you can tell if somebody had a good day as an offensive lineman if you never hear their name called. It's kind of the same way with head coaches in basketball. Like if the team's winning and nobody even really knows who the coach is, you're probably doing a good job. Chris Finch gets thrown under the bus a lot because it's just lazy. Like there's nothing easier than saying, oh, it's the head coach's problem. Like don't blame the players that are actually performing. Just blame some other guy, you know?
Right. And I said adjustments in timeouts. How about just adjustments coming out of halftime? I mean, if you look at it, the Wolves have the second best average plus minus in the league in the fourth quarter, 2.1. They have the fourth best second half margin at plus 4.1. So the entire, and if you look at the teams that are the best plus minus margin in the second half, it's your top teams. It's your Denvers, it's your Houston, and I think the Thunder are ahead as well. So I mean, we're way up there. How about that? How about the fact that something, maybe it's an assistant coach, maybe it's Mike Inori, maybe it's Pablo Prigioni, but someone is making adjustments at halftime that are absolutely working. This is becoming, the third quarter used to be the Wolves' Achilles heel year after year after year after year. Something's changing because it's not anymore. They're either coming out aggressively and building a lead, or they're staying par for the course if they have a lead already. A lot of times they're not letting it get away in the third quarter like they used to.
Yeah, and like you said, you're giving credit. Maybe it's one of the assistant coaches. Maybe but that all comes to the head coach. Like if the head coach has put a good team together, a good coaching staff together, and has confidence in them to give them the leash, that's part of being a great head coach. If he's the one calling the plays, good for him too. But yeah, that's a great way to tell how a coaching staff is show me what happens after halftime. That's a good point.
Right. And I don't know, man. Like I was talking to actually the coach of we're at the school that I work at, the coach of the high school boys team. And we always talk about Wolves. He listened to the podcast as well. Shout out Coach O. But I mean, he was saying, I mean, Chris Finch is the best Wolves coach we've ever had, and it's not close. And I 100% agree with that. Now, obviously
Correct.
there's sentimental value to where Flip Saunders was the first one to get us to the Western Conference Finals. Obviously, Flip Saunders passed away as well. Everyone loves Flip Saunders as well, and it's taking nothing away from Flip Saunders. Flip Saunders did amazing things with what he had, but the results speak for themselves with Chris Finch. They really do.
Yeah, like I don't want to throw dirt on the grave, but yeah, Flip had some issues, man. He was very anti 3-point line. He was really big on attacking the mid range. He didn't want people shooting threes. Like his player personnel, like he historically really wanted to pass on Karl Anthony Towns and go with Okafor. Like, yeah, he was fine. He was a great people person, but what Chris Finch has done, like back-to-back Western Conference Finals, when we weren't like the team that was thought to be that, is not something you just brush under the table and say, oh, he's no good anymore. Like we went from being literally getting the number 1 pick in the draft to that kid never not making the playoffs. Like there's no coach in NBA history that has a better making the playoff percentage than Chris Finch, because he's 100%. That's something that wasn't even said for like 15 years before he showed up. Not even, we went once. So yeah, he is the greatest coach in Timberwolves history, and it's really not close.
Right, and I know you've been very vocal that you kind of went out on the Wolves when they hired Tom Thibodeau. I was actually watching today. It was very interesting. I found a YouTube video, and I can share it in the comments, of the first ever game of the Timberwolves when they played at the Metrodome. And, of course, it was against the Chicago Bulls, which is crazy to think about. The first Wolves game at home was against Michael Jordan, which is just crazy to think about. But I did not know, and you can take away my Wolves card, my fan card if you want to. I did not realize that Tom Thibodeau was on the original assistant coach staff for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Crazy.
Yeah. He had a beautiful mullet, and, he was probably running video and, picking up cones. But, yeah, there's some nice pictures of classic Thibodeau from those eras that I remember when he came here as a coach, and I quickly left the team as a fan.
Right. Now, here's the thing. One thing I will say about Tibbs. You can't say that Tibbs is a bad coach because he doesn't care. He lives this stuff, man. I mean, he is, from what I hear, he lives, breathes, and eats basketball. Now, maybe some of his tendencies of overplaying his starters and kind of almost going like a college lineup where you have 6 good players, so that's all you play. Kind of, if you watch the Gophers, that's kind of what they do right now, is they have 6, maybe 5 good players, and they play 6 of them. So they just kind of play him into the ground. He kind of plays a college style. But Tibbs, I always felt like had a love for the game, or if not a love for a game, he obsessed over it. It always felt like he was obsessed with the game of basketball and creating a winner, which, to his credit, I mean, he was, coach of the year in New York. He was coach of the year in Chicago. He's just maybe needs to adjust a little bit at his next stop. I'm sure he won't, but I think Tibbs could take like a Charlotte team or something and turn them into a playoff team. Now, would they be a sustained playoff team? Would they be a contender for years to come? I don't know, but I do think that Tibbs can take a team and at least get them to the playoffs. That's what he did for the Wolves, at least.
I think he would rather take the Sacramento Kings. That was his issue, is he doesn't want players that are any younger than 12 years in the league on his roster, because he has a very specific system, and he's going to force it down your throat. And guys that have experience know how to adapt to that, and young players don't. So, I hope him the best. He seems like a good guy. Maybe, I don't know, but I did not like his coaching style and or his GM ability.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's a tough pill to swallow for sure for Tibbs. I mean, also he was in control of the front office too. So it's like, does this guy have too much power right now? But yeah, I mean, Tibbs, the last thing I'll say about him with the Butler thing, I know he ruined the Levine chemistry, whatever. He got us to the playoffs at least. Like he got us there. And that's what I can say for him.
That is fact.
Yes, for sure. All right, so I want to do something fun here, a new segment where I have the random Wolves clip of the night. Now, this was inspired by the Wolves win over the Oklahoma City Thunder, because only 3 teams have beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder this season. I believe it's us, the Blazers, and then the Spurs. I don't think OKC lost this weekend. Other than that, at least that I saw, I don't think they lost. Maybe they have 4, maybe 3 losses. Who knows? But why I bring this up is everyone's comparing the OKC Thunder to the 73-9 Warriors, and what people forget is one of the 9 teams to beat the Warriors in the 15-16 season was in fact the Minnesota Timberwolves. So enjoy tonight's random Timberwolves clip of the pod.
Defending on Wiggins. There's Towns to the bucket. And the foul.
That's Karl Anthony Towns is basically game-sealing bucket for the Wolves, and one. There was a lot of free throwing and missing after that. But, I mean, look at those young Wolves 10 years ago. Can you believe that was 10 years ago?
I don't believe it. I remember that, though. I remember we historically, during the Golden State run, played them really well. But I do remember that game, and it is good to see those baby pups out there.
So, again, another trivia for you. Who was the leading scorer in that game? Here's a hint. He came off the bench.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jalen Noel.
Oh, Jalen was on the team. Yeah, Jalen was like in middle school at that point.
Okay. I don't know. Who was it?
All right, I'll give you another hit. UCLA. Bench player, UCLA. Actually,
Chase
the Gophers.
Budinger?
No.
He's in Arizona.
The Gophers played him in the NCAA tournament and beat him. Perennial bench player, pretty high draft pick.
I don't know. Who is it?
Hold on. One more. Has one of the most.
Oh, Shabazz Muhammad?
Yeah, Shabazz Muhammad. Yeah. There you go. My last clue was going to be had one of the most common last names in the world.
Yeah, he was a handful. I mean, he was a low post monster from the shooting guard position. I mean, he could put numbers up. He didn't like to pass much, but he could put numbers up.
So honestly, I think that game was a wake-up call for the Warriors, because basically that was their last loss of the year. And they didn't lose. They didn't lose after that. So in that game, Shabazz Muhammad, this is a stat line: 9 for 12 from the field. So 35 points on 12 shots. He went 15 for 17 from the free throw line. 17 free throws for Shabazz Muhammad off the bench. How about that? He was a plus 29 in the game, in a game that went to overtime. Other stats
That's
from that
awesome.
game.
Good for him.
Yeah, it might be his career high. I haven't checked on that, but there's a very good shot. It's his career high. Other stats from that game, man, the efficiency on this. Andrew Wiggins, 32 points, 11 for 19 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. He's a +4. Also, 4 assists, 5 rebounds, 6 steals for Andrew Wiggins in that game. And then you saw Cat with the big bucket there. He had a double-double, 20 points, 10 boards. I believe that was Cat's rookie season, if I'm not, or the year after, I believe. Must have been.
He looked pretty fresh.
He did. Tayshaun Prince got 7 minutes in that game. Didn't score. Went 0 for 2 from the field. And then Tyus Jones as well, 19 minutes, 7 points.
Sounds like
for Tyus Jones. But yeah, the last loss, the 9 in the 73-9 for the Golden State Warriors. Let's see what day. It was April 5th, 2016, I believe. Wolves improved to 26-52. So a huge win for them. But and what obviously you saw it, that was in Golden State as well. So big win for them against the Golden State Warriors all the way back in 2016. Doesn't feel like 10 years ago, but it was. But let's wrap up the show. Wolves play the Knicks, and then we play on Christmas, which is perfect. They play Denver on Christmas night, which is absolutely perfect for me, because the reason that it's perfect for me is because I can spend all day just kind of hanging out with family, and then once the Denver game hits, I can go and watch it by myself, which is kind of what I want to do. Let's be completely honest. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hopefully we get some big wins over the holidays here.
Absolutely. And this is the Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And make sure to use promo code RUN25 at checkout at 612tees.com. Go get yourself a sweet tea. And as always, go Wolves.